30% a year in terms of e-commerce. And not many businesses grow that fast. Amazon is by market cap maybe now third or fourth largest in the world doing e-commerce. And you look at 100-old company like Volvo, and the market cap is much lower than that. If you look around the world, Rakuten in Japan, the e-commerce company that is now taking the world stage. If you look at the opportunity, you talk about US 2 to 3% in consumer spending. If you can shift only up to 10%, it's a huge amount of business. And people ask, is there e-commerce in Malaysia? A lot of people don't buy online. Actually, you don't need a lot of people to buy online to create an economy. I mean, if 1 out of 10 buy online, it's a big economy. Malaysia consumer spending is something like 50-60 billion. So if you say 10% of that, if you reach 10%, it's a huge volume. You don't need to buy everything online. Once a year, you buy a few things online, and you have 10 million of people. It creates quite a big size economy. Even for a country like 27 million like Malaysia. And you look at e-commerce in Australia, what drives me? They are huge in terms of e-commerce. And I just came back from Poland. Poland as a country, the e-commerce is huge. There are 55 million people, but the e-commerce is huge. And you think of it as an Eastern European country. There's a lot of countries around the world, if we don't start to develop, overtake us in Malaysia. And that is possibility, and that drives me that it's possible. The opportunities are right there. So for those that are involved in e-commerce, don't lose heart, hang in there. With a helping hand from some of the PC and the government to push, and with unified telecom, it's going to happen. And I really believe that it's going to happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Richard. Any questions? Let's open it up to the floor. Just put up your hand, mention your name and your company, and then ask the question. Daniel.
Yeah, so Daniel from TeAM. So I want to know about the 1.5 million, how many of them are outside of Malaysia, and what are your plans to actually, expand beyond Malaysia in terms of e-commerce?
Currently, 98% are from Malaysia for Lelong auction. For super buy, the Amazon type of shopping, we do get a lot more buyers from overseas. Very interesting, they buy interesting things like Tomos. We sell Tomos, and they buy the high-end Tomos. They want to buy some of our health product from overseas. But back to that, do we expand outside? I think if we expand outside, we will look at some of the Southeast Asian countries. We certainly have aspiration. But if we do go overseas, I think we will joint venture with people. People think that e-commerce, because it's online digital, it can spread across all geography very easily. It's not true. I think when you start to ship things outside of the country, there's a custom, there's law, etc. involved. So within that, generally e-commerce will be within the country first. If you look at Amazon, they start UK, which is for UK market. They're going to start China, which is for China market, or Japan for Japan market. You can't really ship product freely. You can buy product freely everywhere in the world on the website, but you can't deliver and execute the delivery freely across the world. No? If you try Korea something, and if you're unlucky, if you stuck in custom, you are dead. No? Some of the electrical product, they say before I can do it, you're going to go to Syria, you're going to get a group sticker there and all that. You can say forget about the product, it's left with the custom. So e-commerce, I think, is still within the country, in that sense, within the geography. But having said that, there is a new development. Things we have to adapt. There are a lot of people in Malaysia buying things from Japanese website. I don't know whether you know or not. And there are companies now that says allow you to buy from a group of Japanese website and they ship weekly, collectively to Malaysia and they distribute in Malaysia. Maybe there's a new model of e-commerce. Some of you might be venturing into that.
So, my name is Pai, aspiring entrepreneur, because my boss is not around here. So anyway, the question is like, good thing you mentioned about that, right? It's like people ordering from Japan. I see a lot of those activity happening in Facebook, right? And every now and then I see my friends' photos being tagged. So when I click on it and it's actually someone's trying to sell a product. Right? So how do you think that's going to compete with your offering, especially when you have in Dubai or whatnot? And are you going to hop into that as well, onto that bandwagon too?
There is a new class of terms being used now, social e-commerce, social shopping. I think for us, sometimes I wish that we have a lot more e-commerce company, a lot of people going and creating websites, because we need an economy of size to create. We need X number of people doing things online to create an economy. If we are the only one, it's very hard for us to create an economy. So if there are a lot of people shopping online, Facebook, etc., I think it's good for e-commerce, it's good for us, because people get used to buying things online. They're not so fearful, whether through Facebook, through forum site. A lot of people buying on forum site.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So everyone start to get used to actually paying money and receiving the product, whether sometimes when meet outside, etc. So that creates a certain level of experience. Okay, a lot of people don't buy because they never tried it before. They're so fearful. But once you try it once and have a good experience, you don't mind trying it again. Same thing, I think. You know that as I go around the world, talk to some of our counterparts around the world, internet banking in Malaysia is actually quite developed and quite extensively used. Okay, especially in the long run. The first thing they say, how do I pay the seller? You go and start the internet bank, start with bank to you, not create a bank to your account. So the transfer of funds within the internet banking is very prevalent in Malaysia, especially amongst people trading. Okay. So, but one thing about Malaysia that is quite unique also, I think it's the only country that I can recall that actually internet banking transfer money is totally free. One country charge a fee. Remember when the bank wanted to impose the $50, we made a big hoo-ha. The bank stepped in. In most countries, when you transfer funds like this, you have to pay a fee per transaction.
I think there's two readings. Interbank transfer.
That is for gyro. I Maybank to you, if you transfer to each other, it's free.
Maybank to Maybank.
Yeah, it's free. In most countries, even in Eastern Europe, they have to pay because it costs money for that transaction.
Even within the same bank.
Within the
Same bank.
Yes.
That Maybank.
They have to pay a small fee. Yeah.
So you must thank bank manager for that.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, if we put our hand, those who have used banking to pay bills and all that, and if really the bank imposed $50, I think all of us will pay the $50. I mean, taking the emotion about the productivity gain you can get. I'm not working for the bank.
Question over there.
My name is Richard. My name is Dinesh. I'm an entrepreneur. How was the success of AutoWorld.com? How was the buyer's approach?
Okay, I mentioned AutoWorld that we started. Since then, we are no more owner of AutoWorld. In 2003, we formed